Greetings all, and welcome to Dave's Craft Room. And on today's video, it is time for another scrap quilt for our nerves, okay? You know, the tea about the scrap quilts is that I kind of have to make them because I don't like to throw away fabric. Nobody wants to throw away fabric. So I always keep the scraps, but I generate so many in Dave's Craft Room that I have to make scrap quilts in order to make it through and avoid getting buried alive. And so for this project, I've decided to incorporate two things: 9 patches and some quilt blocks that I have made up for no other purpose. I whipped up a couple the other day when I was bored. I mean, a 9 patch is pretty standard and they're gonna be made from scraps. So it's easy to do. I mean, most quilters probably know how to make a 9 patch. I'm not necessarily gonna explain it. And I don't know how many I'm gonna make, probably 5 to 10,000. And then in addition to that, I have this stack of quilt blocks here. And these quilt blocks designs come from this book. This is 1000 Blocks. Quilt Makers 1000 Blocks, a collection of quilt blocks from today's top designers. Honestly, I love this book. First of all, I love a thick tome. But these blocks are so cool. Pretty much every page I turn to, I would see a block that I want to make. Obviously, I felt that way when I put all these things in here. I don't even remember whether those are supposed to signify something specific, or I can't really remember why I do things. Like, this is a quilt block that's shaped like a heart, and I labeled it with a sticky note that says heart. I don't know why I did that. I made most of these blocks in 2022, and I think I just was probably in between projects and just flipped to a random page and made a random block. I cannot really explain why they're different sizes, because every block that you make, if you follow the directions in here, will be what, 12.5 inches. Sorry, 12 inches, 12.5 unfinished. But obviously, I changed the size on some of them, and I changed them. I'm gonna trim these all to make them 12.5 inches unfinished. They'll be 12 inches in the finished quilt. And then I'm gonna add to these strips to make them bigger. In all honesty, I wouldn't say all of these were successful. Some of them turned out really ugly, but you know what? I don't mind at all because they served the purpose. I think I was just bored that day and wanted to make something. You know what I mean? That's essentially it. How many do I have? 1, 2, 3, 13. Okay, work. Great. That's not a super easy number to work with. I might just go ahead and only use 12 of them, just because 12 is easier to have 6 and 6 or whatever, but we'll see. We'll get things on the design wall and intersperse them. You know, whatever space is not filled up by these will be these 9 patches. Let me show you these blocks from above, and then I'm gonna process these all into a uniform shape so they make sense. And then I'm gonna get into making these 9 patches the house down. Okay, so let's get into it. All right, so these are the blocks. Let me show them to you one at a time. See how they're different sizes. And that's pretty cute. It's a cat. This situation happening. I appliqued something in the center, which is probably a sign that the centerpieces did not make a beautiful cross, and so I appliqued something over it. Butterfly with some patches on there. I mean, this wood is pretty ugly. I do not like the colors at all, but it'll be fine in my scrap quilt. I don't know why I selected these colors. I probably selected them at random and didn't really know how they would look, but it doesn't matter. Who cares? They can be ugly. So these, we're now getting into the bigger size of them. This was the size they were meant to be. This is an RV or a trailer. Kind of doesn't really read because the fabrics I selected were too busy. This is cute. We have a rhino in the center. Oh my gosh, this is a satellite. See, I fully just appliqued stuff on top of the block. Here we have some cats that I fussy cut it out. I happen to know that the block is the background, and then I appliqued this bear on top of it. Pizza Castle. Welcome to Pizza Castle, home of the dragon pizza. Can I take your order? This is the whole castle. I put a pizza on it. Well, the door was part of the pattern, and I selected a pizza. And then the dragon I appliqued on top. And another block where I just appliqued eagles onto it. So let's go ahead and see if we can uniform these in terms of the size. That's my first goal. So this is the T. Each one that I cut, I'm gonna do 3 pieces of 6.5 by 2. That's gonna give me exactly what I need. It's 3 pieces because I'm gonna make strip units. There'll be a different fabric here that I also cut into 3 pieces, but. Alright, so I have piles that look like this, and at this point I'm gonna chain piece these. Like these to there, and then that on, and then same thing. See how these are kind of the opposite? I pretty much decided to arrange the things in a grid, which was not the original plan, because if it was the original plan, I would have made them the same size. But this is 14 inches unfinished, and this is like, I think 12. So I'm gonna now have to border these again, just like I bordered the small ones, to make them all 14 inches because I want it to fit in a grid. And this is a square right now, so I don't want it to be a square. I'm gonna add another row. I'm not gonna make any more blocks. I've already pulled some stuff. Like, I think it's t-shirts and a piece of fabric. Like, let me show you. These are the things that I chose. This is a NASA t-shirt. This is Lisa Frank style. I don't know if it doesn't say Lisa Frank on it. It just says NASA on it. It's definitely the style of Lisa Frank. I don't know where I got this or why I have it, but we're gonna put that in the quilt. And then this, I'm sure I got in a thrift store somewhere, but I have no memory of where. It says Return of the Sockeye. It's obviously a Star Wars spoof. I don't know if it means anything or what it means or if it's just a spoof, but here we go. And then this is unicorn fabric, and this was when I made Robert's daughter's quilt. But this piece was not stunning enough and I couldn't work it in, so I'm just gonna cut 14 inches out of it and use it. I also need to make more 9 patches, but okay, so that's what I need to do. More 9 patches, make these into blocks, border these. Oh wow, that's a lot of tasks. That's a lot of tasks. We'll see how far I get today. All right, these are all the blocks done. So now I'm gonna sew them up into 9 patches. All right, so I have the blocks here, the 9 patch blocks and the Orphan blocks. And as if we didn't have enough interest, I'm now gonna add on some of these patches that one of my subscribers sent to me. Oh, a cat! I can tell you, I get subscribers reaching out periodically asking to send me stuff, and I usually have to say no thank you because I have too much stuff in my craft room already. But on this day, I just decided to say yes. So let me select out my favorites. Hannah Montana. Okay, there's cars. Oh, this one's obviously my favorite. Jeez. It's gonna look good. Gemini. I am not a Gemini. I am a Cancer. I guess I'll use these tiny airplanes. Cool, so I'm gonna use these. Let's see what else I can pull from my stash, because I have a drawer of patches. Oh, the avocado. Oh, this is Geetus. I'll use Geetus for sure. All right, so some of the patches have iron-on the back that we can use to baste it, and those that don't have iron-on, we can use this glue stick to baste it. They sell these iron-on patches like they're actually gonna iron on. I mean, you can iron them on, but the iron, that stuff is gonna fall off eventually, so you have to still sew them, I find, unless the article is not gonna be used. Let's figure out where to put cheese. Let's just put cheese right here. Oh my gosh, I'm obsessed. It is so beautiful. Oh my gosh, the top is done. 68 inches. It's about 81 by 70. Okay, this is 90 by 110. This is good. We can use this queen size thing. Polyester batting. And then here's the backing. This is the backing. Blue plaid flannel, as usual, I feel like. So let's get it sandwiched and quilt it. I'm gonna do various different methods to quilt it. Kind of a potpourri of quilting things. So let's do it. Where is the opening? Oh, here it is. Turn it inside out or turn it right side back out. It's like giving birth. We are giving birth to the quilt. It's a horrifying thought. So this is my idea for quilting it. I don't know if I'm in the frame or not, but this is my idea. I want to hand quilt this because I like hand quilting. Actually, I don't want to hand quilt the whole thing. What I should say is I want to put some hand quilting in, but yeah, not the whole thing. So what I want to do is I'm gonna machine quilt in this ditch of the giant grid. And that's gonna keep it together while I continue to hand quilt. I'm gonna put ties in it and also these buttons. These are leftover buttons that I had from, there's a bunch of buttons in here that I had from making this quilt. The buttons on there. I'm gonna put buttons in it and the buttons will go through all 3 layers. So that's gonna add to the quilting. And I don't know how it's gonna look. I'm not really planning per se, I'm just kind of vibing. But that's essentially the idea. So there will be some machine quilting, some hand quilting, I think hand quilting in the blocks. And then inside the 9-patch parts will be the ties and the buttons. That's my idea. So. Alright, this is the final quilt, and that's going to be all for today's video. Thank you for coming to Dave's Craft Room. Remember to like and subscribe to my channel, and please come again.